So Lacey Evans is in hot water. This past week, the Army vet posted some videos to Instagram. In those videos, there were two scholars, because not everybody on the internet is a scholar, was denying the existence of autism and ADHD and linking it to the development of processed foods. And yeah, the 2 men in the video kind of spoke on how these disorders did not exist before processed foods. Lacey Evans obviously received a massive amount of social media backlash, eventually took the videos down. And whenever somebody tried to talk to her, she was just saying, we're talking about the kids, we're talking about these processed foods. But I wanted to know what your thoughts and impressions were on this incident.
She's so fucking stupid and insensitive. And it's not the first time she posted something stupid and insensitive. No, like, I'll never forget the time she, like, painted her child in blackface, technically. Like, it was supposed to be a fox, but it was, like, for Halloween, and she just painted the face, not the rest of the body. And, like, Fanshai pointed that out, saying how offensive that looks, and she was doing the same thing. Like, that's just her reaction. So when I saw this shit, I was like, yo, someone take the phone away from this woman. But I wasn't too shocked with her just because, like, I don't know, the all-American Army vet whole setup, she probably is MAGA too, probably anti-vax too. This to me was just like adding this, like just extending her long resume of fuckery here, and I just thought it was just very insensitive because like we live in a day and age where there's just so much just information out there to prove that like there are chemical imbalances that people are just born straight out the womb, and unfortunately, yeah, some people have disorders and stuff like that, and I just feel like it was offensive to the community of people that are oh shit, I almost dropped my laptop, y'all. To the people that do have ADHD, that do have autism, or have any other things like bipolar disorder, or OCD, or whatever. Like, I just thought that was just so fucked up because it's just like, and it also didn't make any sense. Like, don't get me wrong, yes, foods do play a role. Like, if you do eat like crappy processed food, you are more likely to feel depressed. It's not very good for your brain function, but it doesn't change like the chemicals of your brain, like something that you already just lacking to begin with. It was just so stupid that I'm trying to like find the words to explain it, because it's just like, what if it was her child? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you saying this because it's not your child that has that, or that you just didn't grow up with that? It takes me back to a place where with reminding me of my own parents growing up, where they grew up in a time frame where they didn't believe in that shit. Yeah. They did not believe in having mental disorders. It either was that you were lazy, you're crazy, or you had a strong head on your shoulders. One or the other. Lazy or crazy was mainly like one of the two groupings. And if you're crazy, go to an asylum or whatnot, And it took for me, as someone that's been like diagnosed with bipolar disorder, it actually took for like my parents to actually sit me down with a professional to like see that, and take it in that, oh, she's not just, having these back and forth switches. To have these back and forth switches is actually just something that it just is what it is. And like, we need to tackle that instead of just saying that, oh, she's weak, or yeah, it's just solely the food. Again, if food plays a role, but it's not going to cure it. Some people need the therapy for it and the help, and they do need medication for it. I just think that's just so fucked up, because like, you're dismissing a lot of people's struggles that they go through, that they have to go through every single day. Just because maybe you don't have it, or maybe you don't see it, you never experienced someone that sees it. I don't know. I just thought that it was just so insensitive. And honestly, that to me is on the grounds of getting fired. I just feel like, don't they have like foundations in WWE that goes toward helping children of all sorts, not just on a physical standpoint, but ones that suffer like also mentally from something? Like, is it just all in the Make-A-Wish Foundation? They have other foundations, right?
Yeah, they have other foundations. It's not necessarily just Make-A-Wish, but they also have partnerships with, they do stuff for the Special Olympics.
Yes.
They do stuff for, Boys and Girls Club. It's not just like Make-A-Wish. But I'm glad that you said all of that. I'm gonna offer a little alternate perspective, because I feel like you encapsulated one part perfectly. I can encapsulate another part perfectly.
Shoot, man, go.
Some things in life are not all about right or wrong. It's about wisdom and discernment. Baby girl, Lacey, let me talk to you real quick. you are on a platform and a part of a company such as WWE, who has had a dark past, who is currently striving to be more ethical, right? At least from its public appearance standpoint. And because of that, they are not going to be as tolerant, as accepting to viewpoints, ideals, beliefs, and values that are going against a marginalized group of people. And I understand that there was a point in time where you were like, my intention was to talk about the kids, and your intention may have been pure. But you, as an adult, you as a public figure, you as a performer, you as someone who is viewed by kids and is seen by a army audience or a military audience, those of which can also be parents who have kids who have ADHD and autism, you have to understand that, like, sometimes you have to consider the impact over your intention. You have to think about what you're going to say. You have to think about your beliefs and ideals. And while you may be coming from a good place, you have to ask yourself, can this potentially have a negative impact? And that's what I think this was one of those cases of. You put something out into the world that you had a positive intention about, but you had a negative impact. And because of that, it puts you on cold. It puts you in, puts you on ice, because you were getting this build up to this return, right? To come back to WWE. Now that those plans are now interrupted, probably. But in addition to that, it's like now WWE has to explain to their partners what's going on, right? And so now it just puts you in a very, very, tricky predicament. And I'm not necessarily a fan, nor do I agree with everything that was said, but I just think that it could have just all been handled a lot better, even if it was true, which we know that it isn't. And also, I thought that, we would have learned from multiple people having incidents online. Just because 2 people or 3 people or 4 people hop on a podcast and have good sounding equipment and, call themselves doctor and scholar doesn't
Yeah.
mean that they're in a predicament or a position to be giving advice, because some of these cats aren't really doctors. Some of these cats aren't really scholars. Some of these cats are not who they say they are, and they're not as educated as they portray to be. Do your research before you start sharing information, because you could be spreading misinformation. You could be spreading false information. But until you do the research, just don't share.
It's also ironic.
Go
Didn't
ahead.
last week we were just talking in the chat about her mental health post?
about how she was so mad that, like, people can't perceive her as, people only respond to, like, her more salacious post versus her post about mental. Like, it's just like, come on, bro. Come on now. You gotta do better.
When they finally get her the floor, this is what she does.
We give you 5 seconds, and it's the worst 5 seconds of our lives that we will never get back. Like, come on now.
Can't make this shit up.
You can't make this you can't make it up, bro. You cannot make it up. We'll spend all day on this, but let us know how y'all feel about Lacey in the comments. We're moving on.